What is up, party people? How we doing? Welcome to the feed. I'm going to be talking all things your questions. So whatever your question is, that's going to steer the conversation. But I will say that if you don't already know, we have launched Relationship Theory as its own channel over on YouTube. Lisa and I going deep on relationships, how to make them fucking amazing. So remember, if you're following me at Bilyeu on YouTube, you will not see the Relationship Theory content. For that, you must go to Relationship Theory on YouTube, its own channel. Relationship Theory is on YouTube, its own channel. And I'm here to answer your questions about anything. So let me know what you guys want to talk about. And bonus points if you want to talk about relationships, bonus points if you want to talk about comic books, what we're doing over on Webtoon if you haven't checked that out. Bonus points if you want to talk Conversations with Tom, which that show I absolutely love recording and have some new episodes coming out for you guys, and I'm super stoked on. D. Accardo66 says, Tom, started a small business. You've been a strong reason why. Dude, I love that the most. And I'm very excited to hear that. And if you don't already know, we have Impact Theory University. We have the business track where I am pouring my fucking heart and soul into helping people start businesses, run businesses better, crush it, kill it, show people that recession or none, depression or none, doesn't fucking matter. More millionaires were made during the Great Depression than any other time in history. It is a time of tremendous upheaval. And when there is upheaval and change, there is massive opportunity. And you just have to think in the right way in order to gain the skill set that you need to gain in order to take advantage of that disruption. So that's it. Felix Henry, when is Relationship Theory live? We don't do them live because YouTube, not only do they not help you if you go live, I would say that their algorithm punishes you for going live. So we don't fuck around with lives, but we do occasionally do here on IG. We'll go live and answer some questions if that's what you meant. We don't have anything in the books, but we certainly will do it again in the future. Lisa and I are always looking for a reason to do that. Louis CZ says, what does your diet look like? My diet is high fat, low fucking carb, almost no carbs, except for vegetables. Do I take in any carbs? Monday through Friday, unless it's a vegetable, my carb intake, you're going to think I'm kidding. My carb intake from non-vegetable material has got to be less than 10 grams per day, for sure. I don't intentionally, or I should say I intentionally avoid anything with carbohydrates that isn't basically green leafy matter. So it's a lot of meat, a lot of red meat, a lot of leafy greens, and that's more, and eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. Eggs. I go hard for that egg cake. So that's my diet. What gets me mad? Very little. The only thing I will say, inefficiency. That shit drives me fucking crazy. What else makes me mad? Like, no bullshit. When people argue for their limitations and it fucks me up and I have to deal with it. So when somebody in the company is arguing for limitations or making excuses, those things fucking drive me crazy. But they have to be in the context of the company. If it's just somebody else in their own life, I just have sympathy. But when it's people in my company, then I actively have to deal with that shit. That will wind me up. But I have a pretty long fuse. I try to understand where they're coming from and help them beyond that. But if something was going to trigger me, it would be that. Edgar says, how to make money. Well, Edgar, get good at something that people are willing to pay for. If you can get good at something that people are willing to pay for, you will always have a job. If you can make people money, sell some shit, you will always have a job. Say what you will about sales, but those people are the last to go. When they're good at what they do, they are the absolute last to go. How do you go about the world of website development not knowing much about the process? Learn, man. This is an exciting fucking time. You can go right now and YouTube and get every tutorial you could ever hope to get. It is fucking amazing. You are living in the most extraordinary time ever if you're trying to get good at something. This is a crazy time to be alive. This is a crazy fucking time to be alive. And I don't understand people that aren't taking advantage of that. Go get some skills. So that would be my advice. Go learn. 10 Canada 10. Can you tell any word in Arabic language? I cannot. I know, unfortunately, 0 words. Wish I did. That'd be fucking amazing. Hi, Tom. Do I help teens? Do I help teens? Legitimately, 80% of this company is focused on creating content for teens. Now, people think of us only as the direct-to-camera stuff, which I think speaks to teens as loudly as it speaks to anybody. But on the narrative side, Literally 80% of what we do is all aimed at kids. Matt LaGreca says, what was your favorite interview? I've had a lot of amazing ones. I will say David Goggins is up there. Anytime I get to spend with Ryan Holiday, most recently we just recorded a Conversations with Tom episode that was fucking amazing. The guy's incredible. I continue to have a man crush on the way that he thinks. There have been a metric shit ton of really cool people, but those two rank very, very highly. David Eagleman, trying to put together something outside. I almost said what it was, which he would punch me in the mouth because nothing's real yet. But trying to put together something with him on the outside. What else? I'm here to answer your questions, by the way. And for those that don't know, just to do some shameless plugging here, Relationship Theory is now its own show, its own channel on YouTube. If you're not already watching that, go right now. You have my permission to leave this feed and go over to YouTube and sign up. You won't get Relationship Theory content if you're only following Tom Bilyeu. You have to go to YouTube and follow specifically Relationship Theory. So head over there. Do I promote on LinkedIn too? A little bit. We're not great internally at LinkedIn, which is stupid, being as how I teach Impact Theory University, which is one of our primary sources of revenue, and I don't go market it very well on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying it's true. So I'm going to punch myself in the mouth when I'm done with this because that really is dumb. Makib says, hi, Tom. How do you stop yourself from slipping to fixed mindset? Like I've read Dweck's work and your videos, but slip back. And what's your favorite comic book? My favorite comic book is, it's a really good question. My favorite comic book is Watchmen, but I read infinitely more manga than I read comic books. I will say Bakuman is crazy good, and Akira is stupid good. Promise Neverland is sick. I love that shit. Yeah, those. There it is. All right. Let's see. Looking for questions. My favorite book. This is Plus Gravity. My favorite book. In fact, I'm going to start pulling questions from the actual question thing. But my favorite book, I don't think you're going to care. My favorite book is a book called The Gunslinger, which was the book that showed me that I did like reading. The most important book is Mindset by Carol Dweck. And the most fun I think I've ever had reading was Ready Player One. So there you go. Okay, Ruhi says, how to deal with anxiety. Like, what will I do tomorrow? I might kill myself. Well, first of all, Ruhi, if you are serious that you might kill yourself, you need to immediately get help. Immediately. I always tell people, when you have suicidal rumination, you are quite literally playing with your life. Don't fuck around with that. That is a temporary problem with a very permanent solution. So yeah, don't fuck with that, man. You really need to get help. And that there's nothing weak about that. That's fucking beautiful. It's amazing. Call a helpline, reach out to a friend, do something. Also know that if you need an immediate fix, look into a guy named David Burns, cognitive behavioral therapy, and doing the pattern interrupts that you need to do over the ruminating that you're doing, the negative rumination, the obsessive rumination. You got to interrupt that pattern. It is possible. You're going to have to do the work, man. So please, for the love of God, and get the fuck off social media. Social media will fuck with your head. So if I referred to you as a guy, I apologize. I see that you are a woman, but I saw somebody in the feed. So yeah, don't fuck around. Social media will make you feel badly about yourself if you're not following the just really core people that are only doing things to lift you up. So yeah, get after that. Ruhi, that's really important. Really important. See what else we got here. I'm taking your questions. How many hours a day do I work? So I work from Monday through Friday. It's important to caveat that. Monday through Friday, if I'm awake, I'm either working or working out. So one, it depends on how many hours I'm awake that day. It definitely varies because I don't use an alarm. So I sleep however much I sleep. And when I wake up, and then I start working immediately. So it's typically, I sleep on average about 6 hours. So what's that mean? That I'm working 18 hours. So I work about 18 hours a day. Next question. I'm taking your questions. Be sure to going off. My apologies for that alarm. How do you empower others? This is from Nate. Nate, it depends on in what way I'm trying to empower others. So obviously in my life, there are two ways. One, I do video content like this, where I try to give people real advice that if they put to use in their life would get better, because it's all around skill acquisition and how to think. That's really my obsessive focus, because those are the only things that are real, that have real world consequences. In business, with my team, the way that I'm trying to empower them is by giving them the ability to dent the car. So people need to have autonomy. They need to be able to think for themselves. They need to be able to run experiments, and they need to be able to fuck up so that they can learn from that. That's huge. So I try to create scenarios where they can dent the car, but not total it, because I can't have people fuck up my business and run it into the ground. But for them to get good, I need them to have enough autonomy to think for themselves, to try something. Also, I don't punish people for challenging me. So if somebody thinks that I'm doing something that's stupid, I would fully expect them to say the exact words, Tom, I think that's stupid. So yeah, that's a very complicated thing that we could go more into. I could spend a whole thing on that, but for now, I'll try to get through more questions. Let's see here. I have no idea what this says, but I'm clicking on someone at random. How do you feel? This is from Mirandi Savage. Says, how do you deal with family and friends who have shitty relationships? I stay the fuck out of it. So them having a shitty relationship, that is on them. You cannot change people. You cannot want change for them. They have to do it themselves. So the only thing that you can really hope to do is live by example. And maybe you having strong relationships in your life will prompt somebody to ask you what tactics and techniques you're using. But that's really it. It really bothers me that you can't want change for somebody else. I have enough want and ability to create desire that I could want success for a whole lot of people. But alas, it doesn't work. So that's it. Do what I call just sit. Just sit with people. Be with them. Love them. Don't try to change them. Just let them do their thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. If it did, I would do more of it. But alas, it does not. So that's just the raw truth of it all. Okay, this is from Jay Brannis. Says, how do you avoid feeling burnt out? I avoid feeling burnt out because I have structured my life insanely specifically around things that give me more energy than they take. Now, having said that, 60% of my life is what Jeff Bezos calls overhead. So it is shit I don't want to do. And I should say 60% of my work life is overhead. But the other 40% is so thrilling to me, and I have so much fun doing it, and it feeds me and energizes me. And on top of that, I have a rule that I don't allow burnout. So if I found myself edging up towards that, and it was a Tuesday and I needed to take the day off, I would take the fucking day off. And so while I believe in going hard and leaving it all out on the field, when you get to the point where it's not fun anymore, what the fuck are you doing? So having clarity of values is critically important. So I don't value myself for grinding myself into the dirt. I value myself for going, hey, you go fucking hard. You go harder than virtually anybody. You can sustain a lot of stress. You can carry a lot of weight on your shoulders. But most importantly, when you know that you're no longer having fun and you're about to break and you can feel overwhelmed coming your way, that you actually stop and go relax. I don't understand people that get to that point and are like, I can only value myself if I'm working. So that's absurd. And this is why people need to recognize you're having a fucking biological experience. You're living in a body. And you have to recognize what feeds that body, what diminishes that body. You have to understand that thoughts become real and that they will manifest with physiological signs in your body. So if you're thinking negative shit all the time, it's going to make you feel bad. If you think positive stuff, it actually makes you feel better. If you aren't working out, you're not going to have energy. If you're eating wrong, you're not going to have energy. If you're fucking in a terrible relationship and it's making you feel badly about yourself, that's going to suck away your will to live. Got to clean this shit up, man. You can't live a dumbass life and expect anything other than dumbass results. So clean that shit up. There's so many basic blocking and tackling things that people just don't fucking do for reasons I will never understand. Actually, that's a lie. Your value system is fucked up. You allow yourself to think about stupid things that are not moving you forward. You need to stop, assess, write things down. When you force yourself to write in a single sentence what you actually value, and then you force yourself, even though nobody likes to do this, you force yourself to rank order that shit. Now all of a sudden you know, how should I move through the world? So for instance, I know my number one value is my wife. I value my marriage over everything. So when my wife comes to me and says, hey, you're working so much on the business, it's damaging our fucking marriage. I don't go, hey, give me a couple more days. I go, cool, I'm stopping right fucking now. So my wife broke her toe yesterday. Beloved wife, what were you doing? She broke her toe yesterday, and my wife is not a complainer. That woman is the most hardcore fucking human I have ever seen in my life. So at the end of the day, I had a very weird day. It's not my story to tell, but I had a very weird day, family emergency, had to deal with that. At 8 p.m., my wife says, actually, I do need to go to the hospital. And now I'm like, okay, well, this is going to fuck up my sleep schedule. This is going to fuck up my day tomorrow. But what do I say? I say, of course, right now, fuck everything other than you and what you need, because you are my number one most important thing in this world. So I know my values, I rank order them, and I live in accordance with my values. People are so afraid to write shit down. And by the way, nobody knows how to journal properly. You need to journal. You need to be writing down your thoughts. I write well, what should I don't know. What do you think about this? That doesn't make sense. I write all of those things. And in that, I begin to actually understand what's important to me, what I like. And there are times where it's like I have this aspirational thing and I'm writing, oh, I want this and I want to do this. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Even as I write it, this doesn't feel true. Why doesn't this feel true? And because I'm not afraid to face the reality, then I can actually figure out the things that I want. Okay, I went on a really deep tangent on that. I'm going to go pick a new question now. I get asked this a lot. What is your morning and evening routine? So it goes like this. I think I made a video on this. I'm almost certain I did. So if you type Tom Bilyeu morning routine, you will almost certainly get a video. It may have changed ever so slightly because I'm constantly tweaking it, but tweaking, not overhauling. It goes like this. Your morning routine starts the night before. Go to bed, 9 p.m. That's it. Unless you have shift work, and you absolutely cannot, go to bed at 9 p.m. Don't set an alarm. Wake up when you wake up. Get as much sleep as you need. Even if that means for a month, it's absurd and you're sleeping 9 and 10 hours a night. It is what it is. Once you get past that deficit, you're going to slide into something more normal, probably 7 or 8 hours. I can think of a few things that will improve the quality of your thinking and the quality of your life faster than getting a good night's sleep. So I prioritize sleep. Whatever time I wake up, I immediately go to one of a small handful of things. I'm either going to work out immediately. There are periods of my life where I do that. Like right now, I don't. Immediately, I meditate, or I'm going to meditate. So right now, I'm in a meditation phase where I wake up and I begin meditating. Then after I meditate, I think-atate. I won't go into the difference of what they are. I've done whole slews of content around those two things. Once I finish that, then I go work out. Then I go to my important things list and I start chugging down my important things list. And then that I can usually do until 9 or 10 a.m. when I have my first meeting or I have to film something. And then I start working with other people. But normally I'm up around 4 a.m. So from 4 to 10, I get 6 hours of work without other people influencing what I'm doing. And I cannot tell you enough how important it is to control your own destiny, to control your own schedule. That is hugely, hugely, hugely important. And I'm just really, really tenacious about what I apply my energies to. Now, remember, much of what I work on, I fucking love. So in the early hours of the morning, I only work on things that I love. So that propels me out of bed because I'm very excited to go get up and do something that I'm super excited about that gives me more energy than it takes. That's a huge thing. So that, I get 6 hours of like feeling like a fucking beast doing things that I really give a shit about before anybody else starts interrupting my day. So that's my morning routine. There it is. Do it to it. Here we go. Very interesting question. Picked it at random. Should psychedelics be actively promoted? I don't know. It's a good question. I haven't thought through that enough. I think they should be actively talked about. Whether they should be promoted or not, I will reserve that until I've actually done them. I have microdosed psilocybin, and I found it to be way too similar to drinking. So I did not feel that it made me more creative. I did not feel that it took me to some interesting place where I was more productive. It made me feel like I had a really, really pleasant buzz. But that is microdosing. I also found it made me a little bit spacey, made it hard to concentrate. So I was like, this is not ideal for work. So I stopped doing it. But it was fun. It was a neat experiment. And literally today in the shower, I was thinking, am I ever going to do a full dose of this shit? It is something that I find intriguing, but being as how I haven't done it, I can speak no more on the topic. Sorry about that. I had an alarm go off. This is interesting. Gray says, what do you think about the power of letting go in the sense of achieving? I assume you mean letting go of actually accomplishing that thing. The way that I think about that is you should value yourself for the sincere pursuit. And I mean sincere, like you should be going fucking hard to accomplish something. Hard. Like most people just are not willing to go hard. And I'm telling you, there is a subconscious program running in your mind that is asking, how hard is this fucking guy going? Like, are you really going for this, or is this rhetoric? And that subconscious program in your brain that I think is hardwired, when you really are going hard for something, you're trying to build something, you're trying to matter, you're trying to have meaning and purpose. When you do that, then you get a reward. You feel better. You feel fulfilled. You feel good about how you're spending your time. And it's not contingent on other people's approval. It's just there. So it's a really extraordinary feeling. And so that is really, I think, profound. So it's valuing yourself not for the outcome. So yes, letting go in that sense, but it's not letting go of a standard. It's not letting yourself off the hook for trying all out every day. For that, I think you got to go hard. All right, everybody, I will say one more time. Relationship Theory is now its own show. Go check it out. It's on YouTube right now as its own show. If you're following Tom Bilyeu, you are not getting Relationship Theory content. Go check it out. It's a dope show. If you're not already watching Conversations with Tom, check that shit out as well. All right, guys, that's it. Go sign up for Relationship Theory right now on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. I'll be doing more of these. I love interacting with you guys and answering your questions. So thank you so much for submitting them. And until next time, my friends, be